Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into something pretty mind-blowing. A new model from MiniMax that's shaking things up in the AI world.
It's called MiniMax-01, and yeah, it's definitely causing a stir, especially because it's going head-to-head with big names like GPT-4.
Okay, so we've got a new contender in the AI arena, but what makes this one so special?
Well, imagine trying to analyze an entire textbook in one go, or a massive code base.
Well, that's a lot of information. Most models would probably choke on that, right?
Exactly. Most current models have a pretty limited context window. Think of it like their short-term memory. They can only hold so much information at once, maybe a few pages of text.
So MiniMax-01 has a much bigger memory then.
You could say that. It's designed to handle massively longer chunks of information, which opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
That's super intriguing, but how did they actually pull that off? I mean, handling all that extra information sounds like a huge technical challenge.
It definitely is, and one of the key innovations here is something they call lightning attention. It's basically a much more efficient way for the model to process information, especially when you're dealing with these super long sequences.
So it's like they supercharged the AI's brain to deal with all that extra data.
Exactly. And the results are pretty amazing. In their tests, lightning attention allowed the model to maintain a constant training speed no matter how long the sequence was.
Wait, really? So even with like a million words, it wouldn't slow down?
That's right, it wouldn't slow down.
Yeah.
And get this, they even outperformed some of the existing speed champions, like flash attention, too.
Okay, now that's impressive.
Mm.
So we're talking about a model that can not only handle more information, but it can also process it incredibly quickly. What's not to love?
Well, building a model that can handle this massive amount of data in the first place, that's a challenge in itself.
Yeah, I can imagine that gets pretty complicated. Do they have to invent some kind of new architecture for the model itself?
They did. They went with a hybrid architecture, and a key part of this is something called mixture of experts, or MOE. Imagine the AI has a team of specialists, each with their own area of expertise.
That's an interesting way to think about it. So instead of one AI trying to do everything, they've got a whole team of specialized AIs working together.
Exactly. And they didn't hold back either. We're talking about a model with 32 experts and a mind-boggling 456 billion parameter.
Whoa, 456 billion.
Yeah.
I can't even wrap my head around that. But wouldn't having so many experts create its own problems? I mean, it sounds like a logistical nightmare.
You're right, it's not without its challenges, and one of the big ones is something called routing collapse. It's basically like when all the information gets bottlenecked because it's all trying to go to the same few
Oh,
experts.
yeah, so it's like all the cars trying to get through the same toll booth at rush hour. Chaos.
That's a great analogy. And to solve this, they came up with what they call a global routing strategy.
Okay, so they've got this innovative architecture and this smart way of managing all these experts. But how do you actually train a model of this scale? Did they have to invent a whole new training process too?
They did. It's a three-stage process, and they gradually increased the amount of information the model could handle, eventually getting it up to a whopping 1 million tokens.
A million tokens. I don't even know how to visualize that much information.
Right.
What does that even translate to in terms of, say, pages of text?
It's a truly massive amount of information. Think of it like feeding the model an entire encyclopedia.
Wow. So it's like they've created an AI that can read and understand an entire encyclopedia in one go.
Yeah, and what's even more remarkable is that the model can actually handle even more than that during testing.
Hold on, really? So they trained it on a million tokens, but it could handle even more during testing. How does that even work?
Right, so during inference, which is basically when the model is using what it's learned to generate responses, it could actually extrapolate and process up to 4 million tokens.
So it's not just capable of learning a lot. It can actually apply that knowledge beyond what it was specifically trained on. That's pretty incredible.
It is. That's one of the things that makes this model so exciting. It's not just about storing information, it's about being able to actually understand it and use it in a flexible and powerful way.
Okay, so we've got this amazing architecture, this unique training process, and a model that can handle a truly mind-boggling amount of information. But how do we know it actually works? How does it perform in the real world? Does it live up to the hype?
Well, MiniMax put it through its paces with a whole battery of tests and benchmarks, and the results are extremely promising.
Okay, give me the highlights. I'm dying to know how MiniMax-01 stacks up against the competition.
Well, their language-focused model, MiniMax-Text-01, matches or even exceeds the performance of some of the leading commercial models out there, including GPT-4.
So it's not just about being able to hold a lot of information. It's about being able to actually use that information effectively. It's like having a brilliant mind that can actually apply its knowledge to solve real-world problems.
That's a great way to put it. And they didn't just train it to predict the next word, like some models do. They used a reward model to guide the model towards generating responses that are not only correct, but also truthful and helpful.
So it's like they're not just building a walking encyclopedia. They're building a genuinely helpful assistant, one that can not only access information, but also use it in a way that's beneficial.
Exactly. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. They didn't stop at just text.
Wait, there's more. Don't tell me they built a model that can understand images too.
They did. It's called MiniMax-VL-01, a vision language model. They basically integrated a vision transformer, or VIT, into the model, giving it the ability to process and understand images along with text.
Hold on. So they have a model that can read, write, do math, code, and understand images. Is there anything this AI can't do?
It's pretty incredible. It's really pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with AI.
So to train this visual powerhouse, what kind of images did they use? Was it just random pictures from the internet or something more specific?
They used a diverse data set to cover a wide range of scenarios. We're talking everyday images, more specialized domain-specific images, the whole gamut. They wanted to give the model a really comprehensive understanding of the visual world.
So I could ask it to find my cat in a photo, or maybe describe what's happening in a scene from a movie.
Exactly. And to give you an idea of just how much visual information this model was trained on, they used over 694 million unique image caption pairs.
694 million. I'm trying to wrap my head around what that even looks like. That's like every image on the internet, right?
It's a truly massive amount of data, and it gets even crazier. They also included descriptions for the images, averaging about 300 words per image.
That's like writing a short story for every single image. It sounds like they really went above and beyond to make sure this model had a deep understanding of the visual world.
They did. And they even included data for more complex tasks, like object localization and geometry problem solving.
Wait, geometry problem solving using images? That sounds next level. Like it could actually solve a geometry problem based on a diagram.
That's right. They really wanted to push the limits of what this model could do.
Okay, this is all incredibly exciting, but it also makes me wonder, can anyone actually use this technology? Is it locked away in some research lab, or is there a way for, people like me to experience it firsthand?
Here's the best part. MiniMax has made the model weights for MiniMax-01 publicly available.
Wait, seriously? Anyone can download and experiment with this cutting-edge technology? That's a game changer.
It is, and to make it even more accessible, they also have a chatbot with search capabilities that uses the MiniMax-01 model. Plus, there's an online API that developers can use to integrate this technology into their own applications.
So it is not just a research paper. It's a real-world tool that people can actually use and play with. That's fantastic.
It is, and I think that speaks volumes about MiniMax's commitment to pushing the boundaries of AI and making it accessible to a wider audience.
Absolutely. This open approach is definitely something we need to see more of in the AI field. It fosters collaboration, innovation, and ultimately benefits everyone. But let's get back to MiniMax-01 for a moment. There's still so much to explore.
You're right, there is. One of the most crucial aspects that they highlight in their report is their focus on safety and alignment. After all, a model this powerful needs to be used responsibly.
That makes total sense. You don't want a super intelligent AI running around causing chaos. So how did they approach this challenge?
They were incredibly meticulous in constructing their training data, making sure the model was exposed to a wide range of scenarios, especially those involving potentially sensitive topics.
That's a great starting point. Did they give any specific examples of the kinds of safety concerns they addressed?
They talked about using a harmless reward model to steer the model away from generating responses that could be, harmful or offensive. And to prevent the model from simply refusing to answer difficult questions, they integrated principles of helpfulness into their safety rules.
It sounds like they're walking a tightrope, trying to balance safety with functionality. You want the AI to be safe, but you don't want to limit its ability to provide useful information.
Exactly. It's a delicate balancing act, but a crucial one when you're dealing with AI this advanced.
They also mentioned something called data quality enhancement. What
Yeah.
exactly does that entail? Is it like spring cleaning for data?
You could say that. They have this multifaceted approach to making sure the data they feed into the model is top-notch. They use the sophisticated filtering pipeline that combines rule-based cleaning and deduplication techniques.
So they're getting rid of any junk data that could mess up the model's training. It's like making sure the AI is learning from the best possible sources.
Precisely. But here's where things get really interesting. They actually use their previous generation model as a reward labeler to assess the quality of the data for MiniMax-01.
Wait, they're using one AI to train another AI. That's fascinating. It's like a master teaching their apprentice.
I love that analogy. And they don't just look at one aspect of the data either. They evaluate things like coherence, helpfulness, and knowledge richness. It's a very comprehensive approach to making sure the training data meets their high standards.
It's like building a lineage of increasingly intelligent models, each one passing on its knowledge and expertise to the next generation.
I like the way you think. And it's not just about textual data either. Remember, they also have that impressive vision language model, MiniMax-VL-01.
Oh, right, the one that can tackle geometry problems.
Right.
What kind of visual data did they use to train that one?
Well, they used a combination of caption data, description data, and instruction data. Their goal was to cover a wide range of image-related tasks to create a model that's as versatile as possible.
So instead of just throwing random images at it, they carefully selected data that would teach it different aspects of visual understanding. It's like a well-structured curriculum for an AI student.
That's a great way to think about it. To give you a sense of scale, they used over 694 million unique image caption pairs to train their vision transformer. That's a lot of visual learning.
Wow, those are some serious numbers. But it sounds like it paid off because they said the model achieved competitive performance on various benchmarks, especially when it came to visual question answering.
They did, and they even went a step further and included an in-house benchmark to assess the user experience.
That's pretty forward thinking, wouldn't you say? It shows that they're not just focused on creating a powerful model, but also one that's practical and user-friendly. They're thinking about how real people will interact with this technology.
Exactly. They're even working on making the inference process as efficient as possible. This is crucial for real-world applications where you don't want to be waiting forever for a response. They've implemented some clever optimizations to minimize latency and make the model respond quickly and smoothly.
It's like they're fine-tuning the engine of this AI, making sure it runs as efficiently as possible. So it's not just about having a powerful brain. It's about being able to access and utilize that power smoothly and efficiently.
That's a great analogy. And speaking of well-oiled machines, we should acknowledge the incredible team behind all of this innovation.
Oh, yes. The report listed a ton of contributors, and it was quite impressive to see so many people working together to make this happen. It really highlights the collaborative nature of AI research.
It does, and it's not just about developing the technology, it's about making it accessible to a wider audience, and that's where their decision to open source MiniMax-01 really shines.
Right. They've released the model weights, the chatbot with search capabilities, and even an online API. They're essentially giving the world the tools to explore and experiment with this cutting-edge technology.
It's a huge step forward for the AI community.
It really is, and it makes me wonder, what does this all mean? What are the implications of having a model that can handle such long contexts and process information across multiple modalities? I mean, this feels like we're entering a whole new era of AI.
It does, doesn't it? It's a question that goes beyond just the technical aspects of this model. We're talking about the potential impact this technology could have on various fields, and maybe even on our understanding of intelligence itself.
Okay, now that's where things start to get really exciting.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit intimidating, too.
It is a lot to take in, but it's important to remember that AI is ultimately a tool, and it's up to us to use it wisely and responsibly.
Well said.
Yeah.
So before we dive into those bigger questions, let's take a moment to recap some of the key takeaways from our deep dive into MiniMax-01 so far.
One of the most striking takeaways for me is that the boundaries of what's possible with AI are constantly expanding. MiniMax has demonstrated that we can create models that are not only larger and more powerful, but also more nuanced and sophisticated in their understanding of the world.
And they've done it in a way that's both impressive and accessible, which is truly remarkable.
Absolutely. It really makes you wonder, what will they come up with next?
I can't wait to find out. It feels like we're watching the evolution of AI in real time. But for now, let's bring it back down to earth for a moment. What are some of the practical applications of this technology that our listeners might experience in their own lives?
That's a great question. Think about fields like education, for example. Imagine a student being able to have an entire textbook as context while they're studying or writing a paper.
That would be incredible. They could ask super specific questions and get explanations that are perfectly tailored to their needs. It's like having a personalized tutor on demand.
Exactly. Or think about researchers who need to sift through mountains of scientific literature. MiniMax-01 could potentially analyze and synthesize vast amounts of information, identifying key insights and connections that a human might miss.
It could revolutionize research, speeding up discoveries, and helping us tackle some of the world's biggest challenges. The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing.
They really are. And let's not forget about the creative potential. Imagine a writer collaborating with a model that can draw upon a vast library of literary works, providing inspiration, feedback, and even stylistic guidance.
That sounds like every writer's dream. No more writer's block, just a constant stream of creative fuel.
Exactly. And those are just a few examples. We're really just scratching the surface of what's possible with models like MiniMax-01.
It makes you wonder if this technology will fundamentally change how we learn, work, and create.
It really does.
It's a little overwhelming to think about, but also incredibly exciting.
It is. And it highlights the importance of staying informed and engaged in the conversation about AI. This is a technology that will undoubtedly shape our future, and it's crucial that we understand its potential and its limitations.
Well said. So, if our listeners are eager to jump into this world and experience MiniMax-01 firsthand, where should they go?
A great place to start is the MiniMax website. They have information about the chatbot, the online API, and of course the research report itself for those who want to delve into the technical details.
Fantastic. And we'd love to hear our listeners' thoughts and experiences as well. Don't hesitate to share your insights and let us know what you're discovering in this exciting new frontier of AI.
Absolutely. The deep dive is all about fostering a community of curious minds who are passionate about exploring the ever-evolving world of knowledge and technology.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into MiniMax-01, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question. If we now have these models that can, access and process information on a scale we've never seen before, what are the potential long-term implications of this technology? What new possibilities does it open up, and what challenges do we need to consider as we move forward?
Wow, yeah, that's a big question. I think it's important to remember that AI is, a rapidly evolving field. What we're seeing today is just a glimpse of what's to come. As these models become even more powerful, they have the potential to revolutionize various aspects of our lives, really.
I mean, it's almost hard to imagine what that future looks like, right? What would even be possible?
Right. Think about scientific research, for example. Imagine a world where researchers can use these models to analyze huge data sets and identify patterns that would be almost impossible for humans to spot.
It's like giving scientists a superpower. They could sift through mountains of data in the blink of an eye and uncover hidden connections that could lead to, life-saving discoveries.
Exactly. And it's not just about analyzing existing data. These models could also be used to design new experiments and test hypotheses more efficiently. They could significantly accelerate the pace of scientific progress.
That's incredible. But it's not just about science, right? These models have the potential to impact almost every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely. Think about education, for example. Imagine if a student could ask a question about any topic and get, a comprehensive and personalized answer based on the entirety of human knowledge.
It would be like having the world's greatest library at your fingertips, with a brilliant tutor to guide you through it.
Exactly. These models could completely revolutionize how we learn, making knowledge more accessible and engaging than ever before.
That's amazing. And what about the creative fields? Could these models be used to help, say, artists, writers, and musicians create new works of art?
Absolutely. Imagine a musician collaborating with an AI that can generate melodies and harmonies based on, the entire history of music, or a writer working with a model that can help them develop characters, plot lines, even different writing styles.
That's like having an endless source of inspiration and a creative partner who can, really push you to explore new ideas.
Exactly. These models have the potential to unlock human creativity in ways we haven't even imagined yet.
This is all so exciting.
Yeah.
But as with any really powerful technology, we need to be mindful of the potential challenges and make sure we're using it responsibly.
Oh, absolutely. We need to be aware of potential biases that could be embedded in these models and make sure that they are used in a way that benefits everyone. We need to have open and honest conversations about the ethics of AI.
I totally agree. We need to make sure we're developing and using AI in a way that aligns with our values and, really serves the greater good.
And that brings us back to MiniMax and their commitment to safety and alignment. They've clearly put a lot of thought and effort into addressing these issues head on, from the way they put together their training data to how they design their reward model.
That's reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
It shows they're taking these concerns seriously.
They are. And their decision to make their research and models publicly available is another big step in the right direction. It allows for greater transparency and, scrutiny, which ultimately helps to mitigate potential risks.
Absolutely. It's so important to have a diverse range of voices and perspectives involved in the development and governance of AI.
Right, exactly. AI is a tool that has the potential to shape, the future of humanity. It's essential that we approach it with both enthusiasm and caution, working together to ensure it's used for good.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought to chew on. So as these incredible AI models like MiniMax-01 become more integrated into our lives, what responsibility do we have as individuals and as a society, to make sure that AI is developed and used ethically?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? It really challenges us to think about our role in shaping the future of AI.
It really does. It's almost like we're all part of this grand experiment.
Exactly. And as individuals, I think we need to stay informed, keep asking these critical questions and engage in these conversations about the implications of this technology.
We need to be active participants, not just passive observers,
Yeah.
right? We need to make our voices heard.
Exactly. We need to advocate for transparency, fairness, accountability, all of that in the development and deployment of these AI systems. We also need to think critically about the potential impact on, our jobs, our privacy, even our sense of identity.
It's a lot to think about, but it's something we can't ignore. These are important conversations we need to be having now.
Absolutely. And it's not just about, preventing negative outcomes. It's also about figuring out how to use AI to create a better future for everyone.
That's a great point. It's not about fearing the future, it's about shaping it.
Exactly. We need to think about how we can use AI to solve some of the world's most pressing problems, like climate change, poverty, even disease. There's so much potential here.
And how can we make sure that everyone benefits from this technology? That it's not just accessible to, a select few.
That's a crucial point. We need to ensure that AI is developed and used in a way that promotes equity and inclusivity. We need to address potential biases, make sure these models are used to benefit all of humanity.
Well said. It sounds like there's a lot of work to do, but it also feels incredibly hopeful. Like we're standing at the edge of something truly amazing.
It does, doesn't it? AI has the potential to be one of the most transformative technologies in human history.
I think so too. But it's up to us to make sure it's used for good.
That's right.
So, to our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking these important questions. And let us know what you discover. We'd love to hear from you.
We would. After all, we're all in this together.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the fascinating world of MiniMax-01. Until next time, keep diving deep.